Hi guys, I'm Woodcraft Hamster and I thought I'd do a bit more work on our eucalyptus bowl today. Now I've done a little bit of work in advance which makes a change for me. What I've done, I've just got this clamped down to the bench. I've got a couple of chocks that I've screwed in either side and a couple of screws at either end. Now it's still a tiny little bit of movement, but it should be fine for what I need it for. I've also marked out a very rough template on the top which is going to become the bowl, and when I move the camera closer in just a second I'll show you a little bit more. So mostly today's episode is going to be using this, which is my adze. You've probably seen this on my other videos before, and it's one of the best ways I've found to remove a lot of material quickly from the inside of a bowl. Now if you don't have an adze, you can use a gouge, you can use a spoon knife, probably not for something this big, though it is doable. Alternatively, you can make some progress with an axe. If you've got a fairly big bowl like this, you can start chopping these out of it, and then you can use your gouge after that. But because I've got the adze, I'm going to use it because I always think, use the best tool that you've got to hand. So I'm going to move the camera just a little bit closer in and we will make a start. Right then guys, so this is our bowl. You can see I've marked out all the waste wood in the centre here with a particularly hideous orange marker. So basically this is the area I'm concentrating on, and for this I'm going to be using my adze. Now when you're using an adze, the technique or the way in which they're supposed to be used is in a kind of like a rocking motion. In fact, let me move around this way, it'll be easy to show you. So basically what you're trying to do is come down and almost continue round through as if you're doing like a big sweep, almost like you're using a spoon knife, but actually you're kind of using it to chop and sort of sweep through at the same time. Now I hope that kind of makes sense, and I think for the purpose of this video what I'll do a sort of a minute or two here. I'll then move the camera around, come back from the other way, so on and so forth. This can also be really useful coming in from the sides once you get deep enough, which I'll show you as well. And really guys, that's it. So I'm going to make a start, and I'm going to start in the centre of the bowl and work my way outwards. You can start from the outside and work your way in, but I've always found that if you want the centre to be deeper than the outside, which you generally do with a bowl, it's best to start from the centre because that's where it starts getting sort of deeper first. And again, I'm not putting loads of effort into this. I'm kind of using the head of the adze just to kind of fall on its own. I'm not kind of using it like an axe where you're trying to chop wood and you're really hacking at it. All I'm doing is just letting the weight of the head just come in and take that material away. Now if I just step around the other side, and hopefully I won't be blocking your view here. Once you've done a small amount on one side, you come in from the other. Like so, and that is how we're going to get our bowl. So as I say, I'm going to do a few minutes from this angle, then I'll move the camera around a bit and I'll just bring you along for sort of each step of the journey as it starts to progress. I'm not going to bore you with doing the whole thing on camera or speeded up footage, because I suspect this is probably going to take me a good 30 to 40 minutes, maybe a little bit longer depending on how tired my arm gets, but as I say, I'll bring you along with me. Right then guys, well I just wanted to stop here for a second, really just to point a couple of things out. So first of all, this is probably about 2.5 inches deep at its lowest point at the moment, and in fairness this is where I would usually stop when I'm making a bowl like this. Now obviously I'm not going, so I'm going to carry on going, but just to give you sort of a bit of an idea of kind of where I would normally be going. Also you can hopefully just see here I've extended the outline of the bowl. Now that I'm making some progress, I can actually see I can get this a little bit wider without sacrificing any depth, so hopefully that should all be fine. And really I'm just going to carry on with this. I'm not sure I'm going to get all of this finished on this episode, and if I don't I'll carry on in between this and the next one, but I'm going to carry on just kind of you know, extending this out a little bit more, and I'll see where we get to by the end of this episode. Right then guys, well that's it for today. We've made a fair bit of progress on this bowl. We're probably about 3 inches deep now. I'll be honest, my arm is kind of losing all of its feeling. It really just goes to show how unfit I am. But you know, it's a pretty good start. You know, it's, as I say, it's probably about as big as I would normally go, and certainly as big as the biggest bowl that I've carved to date. So I'll be carrying on making some progress with this between now and the next episode, so hopefully next week, by which point we should be ready to come back and start using things like gouges. So I hope it was useful guys. As I say, this is the method that I would normally use for hollowing out a bowl like this, and as I've said before, if you don't have an adze, as useful as they are, you know, you don't need one. You can use gouges, you can use axes, you know, you can really just use whatever you have to hand. It's really about, you know, using the how do I put this? It's about using the most useful or the best tool that you have to hand. Now fortunately I have an adze, and although as I say my arm is really feeling it, you know, this probably take me about 45 minutes, but you know, if I was using anything else, if I was using a gouge, it probably would have taken twice as long, still would have got exactly the same kind of effect. But you know, there you go. So anyway guys, like I've said, I hope it was useful. Comments and questions in the box below. Hit like and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I hope you'll all join me next time. Thanks guys.